NFL draft season is here as we are less than 100 days away from round one of the 2025 NFL draft. And on today's show, we're going to go over Mel Kiper Jr.'s Giants draft targets on today's video. I want to hear from you, though. Who is your dream pick at number 3 for the New York Giants? Is it a quarterback? Is it a skill position player? Or are we going in the trenches? Let me know. Yo, what's going on? Shout out to all the real ones out there. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. One of my favorite videos of the year is reacting to Mel Kiper Jr.'s really his first official big board for the 2025 draft cycle. So we'll go over a couple of players that I think the Giants are looking to target at that pick, and we'll go over the evaluations that Kiper has for those players. A lot of people are going to be like, Marshall, Kiper is always wrong. Well, Kiper last year at one point predicted the Giants to draft Malik Neighbors. The year before that, he had linked Deonte Banks to him. And the year before that, he actually had a mock draft where the Giants selected Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau. Of course, he's going to be wrong. Everyone's wrong. But he's got a pretty good history as well. I want to start this video just talking about the needs that this football team has. And I limited it just to 5 because you have a lot of needs, as you won just 3 games. And really, the number one need everyone we know is quarterback. And this isn't in any order, but I think defensive tackle needs to be targeted. Offensive weapons, that could be running back, that could be another receiver, that could be tight end, offensive line, and DBs. I would like to see all of these positions attacked in the 2025 NFL draft. But at pick number 3, it really comes down to this. You take a quarterback, or you take the guy that you think is going to be wearing a gold jacket one day. You take either one of the guys, Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, or you take the guy that you think can make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm not looking really at all. I know we talked about needs and positional targets, but I think the Giants should go BPA throughout this draft. You won 3 games. You won 6 games last year. This team needs top-end talent. Do that. Just take the best football players on the board. This is the biggest test yet for Joe Schoen. Can he get his quarterback? Maybe there's a world where he can't trade up. Maybe it goes 1-2, Ward, Sanders, Sanders, Ward, whatever it is. That would mean that Joe Schoen would have the luxury of taking the best football player in this class, not a quarterback. If the quarterbacks are gone, it is going to be his job to tell us who the best player positionally is in this draft. Do we trust him to do so? I'm going to give him some trust. Hopefully he delivers and he finds that best football player if both those guys are gone. I really only think there are 5 options at number 3 for the New York Football Giants. And let's start with number 1 on Mel Kiper Jr.'s big board, and that is Travis Hunter, the wide receiver and corner out of Colorado. Has him as the number 1 football player on his big board, and he was the number 1 football player in college last year. That's why he won the Heisman. At 6'1", 185 pounds, still just 21 years old, this is a blue-chip prospect. And there is a world where he is an all-pro receiver and an all-pro corner. When you watch the tape, I get Odell Beckham Jr. vibes when he plays wide receiver, and I see Trayvon Diggs' ball skills at corner. Obviously, he's got great ball skills because he was one of the best receivers in the nation last year with over 92 grabs. Kiper says this about him. Hunter has a great feel for the game on offense and defense, and he played a whopping 1,458 snaps over 13 games this season. I really think he has a chance to play both sides of the ball early in his pro career and make an impact both ways, though I'm ranking him as a receiver right now. The offensive and defensive coordinators for the team that ultimately drafts him are going to be battling each other to use him. Hunter has tremendous hand-eye coordination and elite ball skills. His physical traits and quickness are off the charts, but the Heisman winner also thinks about the game at a high level. He is a highly competitive prospect who works hard to maximize his potential. This is one of the best football players that has entered the draft in a long, long time. I think he's the best wide receiver in this class, and I also think he is the best corner at this class. I have McMillan right behind him, but I still think this guy is going to be elite, whether he plays corner or receiver. I think there is a world where he could play both ways. He grew as a corner majorly in 2024, 2025. PFF coverage grade, almost 91. 15 times he got a hand on a ball last year on defense. He allowed just 22 catches on 40 receptions for 212 yards and only 1 touchdown. On offense, he was unreal. 96 grabs, almost 1,300 yards, 13.1 yards per catch. He averaged 96.8 yards per game, and he had 15 touchdowns. This guy is a game changer, and he really has a chance to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. At number 2 on Mel Kiper's big board, he had Abdul Carter the athletic freak who comes off the edge or came off the edge for Penn State? Could he be coming off the edge for the New York Football Giants? At 6'3", 260 pounds, he's got prototypical size. I don't think he actually weighs 260 or played at 260. He looks a little bit more cut up to me. I think he's closer to 240. Maybe he'll put on some weight for the combine. Still just 21 years old, and the production was through the roof this past year in the Big Ten. Kiper says Carter is versatile and has plenty of experience effectively operating as an off-ball linebacker, helping him crack 60 tackles in 3 straight seasons at Penn State. But the hope this season was he would make a dent in opponents' game plans as a pass rusher off the edge. Mission accomplished. Carter has the traits to wreak havoc there, getting pressure on 18.5% of his pass rush snaps. He is instinctive and fast flying to the football. Carter's 23.5 tackles for loss this season, ranked number 1 in the nation. My favorite thing about Carter is this is his first year playing off the edge. This is his first year putting his hand in the dirt and getting after quarterbacks. And this is a guy that was the best in the nation at it. So he's only scratching the surface of who he can be. I think he's got generational pass rush ability. I think he's got generational pass rush traits and athleticism. 12 sacks, 66 pressures, 43 QB hurries, 24 tackles for loss. I think he is someone that can go to a defense and turn them around. He's a really good player. The question you got to ask yourself with the Giants is, do we draft him even though we already got Kayvon Thibodeaux and Brian Burns? And if we do, what do we do with Kayvon Thibodeaux? My life as a Giants fan, all I've known is you can never have enough pass rushers. That's what the great teams did in my life. I don't mind drafting Abdul Carter if both QBs are gone. Let's stay on the D-line. It's Mason Graham is the number 3 player in Mel Kiper's big board here on January 22nd. Mason Graham is the best interior defensive lineman in the class. I thought he was the best interior defensive lineman the last 2 years in college football. 6'3", 320. He's built everything you want in an interior defensive lineman. Still 21 years old, but he's a leader. He's a captain. He's the head of a culture, of a locker room, and he's a national champion. Kiper says, I love Graham's technique. His leverage gives him an advantage at the point of attack. An interior offensive lineman struggle with his power and quickness. Graham has strong and active hands, and he has proved effective against the run and pass from inside. He had 2 sacks against Minnesota in September, but managed just 1.5 the rest of the year. He was, in my opinion, a little bit better in 2023 and 2024, but at the end of the day, this guy is special. And he was an instrumental piece to Michigan being crowned national champions. He was awesome. He's a leader. He's a culture guy. I'm going to outwork you. He's got all the traits, but he's also got a motor. This guy has skill, but he also has the heart. He's going to get it done. And if you want to build an identity, you draft Mason Graham, and that's going to give you a defensive line that puts fear in the heart of offensive coordinators every single week, and quarterbacks are going to feel that pressure with Mason Graham, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and maybe bringing back Azeez Ojulari. Getting back to New York Giants football, which is owning the line of scrimmage. This kid's special, and I would love seeing him in Giants blue. My question to you before we move on and get to prospects 4 and 5, and then we'll show you 5 through 10. If both QBs are gone, if Ward is off the board and Sanders is off the board and you're on the clock, who's the pick? Hunter, Carter, Graham, sound off for me. Coming up next, Mel Kiper's big boards, player 4 through 7, and we'll also give you some bonus 8, 9, and 10. First, though, I got to give a huge shout-out to today's sponsor, Game Time, the #1 ticketing app on the market, and an app that specializes in last-minute tickets and a guarantee offered of the best seats for the lowest price. They also specialize in playoff tickets for the NFL. And the Super Bowl and the conference championship games are almost here. And I'll tell you this much. If you're going to go to a conference championship game, you're going to enjoy it. Maybe your team's not even playing, but the atmosphere and the activity you're just going to have at the stadium with all of those other fans is going to be a blast. The app is awesome, and if you use our promo code ChatSports, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. Awesome features I love is they're going to let you know. They're going to send you alerts, flash deals, when the best seats are going on for the best prices. Easy to decide which seat you want because you have views from the seat inside the app and a lowest price guarantee. Use that all-in pricing feature as well as that Game Time Picks feature, and you're going to lock yourself into that lowest price. It's not just NFL games. You go to NBA games, you go to concerts, you go to theater events, and even comedy shows. Game Time is the only app I use because they take care of their customers. And if you use our promo code, you get $20 off first purchase. where terms do apply. Promo code CHATSPORTS. Mel Kiper Jr., his fourth best player and his number one quarterback in the 2025 class is the Colorado QB, Shedeur Sanders, son of Deion Sanders. It seems like at one point it was obvious that Cam Ward was QB1. And then once we got around the Heisman ceremony, a lot of people said they had Shedeur Sanders as QB1. But since the season ended, and I don't know if it was the stank that Shedeur Sanders led off in that bowl game, which I don't really factor into my evaluation, it seems like Cam Ward has locked himself into the unanimous QB1. But Mel Kiper, he's got Sanders as QB1. And he says this about him: you won't find a tougher or more resilient QB prospect than Sanders, who took 99 sacks over the past 2 seasons, but still put up really strong numbers. I'm always impressed watching him throw on the move, rolling either left or right. He is very accurate in those spots and has the arm to drive the ball. When his mechanics and footwork are sound, he could pick apart a defense. And while he's not necessarily a major rushing threat, he can keep the chains moving with his legs when there is an opening. And all those things that Kiper says about Shedeur Sanders, I largely agree with. I think that he is the most accurate quarterback in the class. I think he gets through his reads at the best rate in the QB class, and I think he values each possession more than anybody else. I think he has the best ball security, but I also think he is the best decision maker, and he avoids turnover-worthy throws the best. He's an in-the-pocket quarterback. Kiper talks about his athletic ability, and I agree. I think it is underrated. You can add this guy as a rushing threat when he needs to move the chains or when he's around the goal line. Defense have to account for him. He's extremely accurate. He's extremely smart with the football. You see that showing in the completion percentage, and the turnover-worthy play percentage being less than 2, and the TD to INT ratio. He's a smart player. I think his best trait is his football IQ and his decision-making. I don't think he has any elite traits, though, when it comes to actual skills like arm talent, being able to create speed. But I do think there is a world where this guy could be a franchise QB. Just like I think Cam Ward could be a franchise QB, who Mel Kiper has as the 5th best player and the 2nd-rated quarterback in this class. Ward, a little bit of a bigger prospect than Shedeur at 6'2", 223. I think Shedeur's probably closer to 6'1", 215, 210. I think they'll both put on some weight for the combine like J.J. McCarthy did, kind of some fake water weight there. But I do really love Cam Ward as a prospect, and I'm a little bit shocked that Kiper has Sanders over him, but it also was very clear that Ward is someone that Kiper likes as well, having him as the 5th best player. Ward has an unorthodox delivery, but he throws with accuracy and velocity from different arm angles. He displays solid game management traits, and while he had some ball security issues in 2023 at Washington State, that was not an issue in 2024. When things break down around him, Ward can extend plays with his legs, either throwing on the move or picking up first downs as a runner. I like his toughness, swagger, and confidence. That last line is something that I echo. Toughness, confidence, swagger. I'll go a step further. Leadership, being an alpha, and being a young man that has the ability to have his whole team rally around him and own a room. He did it every stop of the way. I also think he's just scratching the surface as a football player. This is a guy that played in a triple option offense his senior year of high school. Then he went to Incarnate Word, dominated. Went to Washington State, dominated. Went to Miami and was a Heisman Trophy finalist. It's really a pick-your-poison type of quarterback. Do you want the guy that has some home traits outside the pocket and playmaking abilities, plus arm strength, and has a knack for hitting the home run? Or do you want the quarterback in Shedeur Sanders, who is an in-the-pocket, on-time, on-target, play within the scheme, and take what the defense gives you? Both can win championships. We've seen that. I think Ward has a little bit of a higher ceiling, whereas Sanders has a little bit of a higher floor. How about you? Who do you want? Pick a QB. Let me know in the comment section. I made it clear, if you're first time watching, I have Ward as QB1 in this class, but I have Sanders right behind him. And I would be thrilled with either of these guys being Giants, because I think the Giants need to go out and get one of these guys at the quarterback position, because nothing matters in this league until you have that guy. 5 key things I look at. Arm talent, decision-making, accuracy, playmaking, leadership. Arm talent, Cam Ward. Decision-making, Sanders. Accuracy, Sanders. Playmaking, Ward. Leadership, Ward. I think Ward is a little bit more of an alpha. Not saying Sanders is not. Not saying that Ward's not accurate. We're really separating hairs here. And this would be on those 5 categories, my breakdown. 6 through 10, quickly, Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. To be honest with you, I don't see the Giants drafting any of these players on screen. I think it's one of those 5 guys. If I had to say any of these guys going to be the pick, it's most likely going to be Will Johnson. I don't think they draft Jeanty. I like Tet McMillan a lot, and if both quarterbacks are gone, I would entertain the idea and just say, F it. We're going to take 2 receivers that are dogs and Tet McMillan and Malik Neighbors and build for the future quarterback spot. McMillan's really good. I compare him to Drake London. Jalen Walker is a stud, and Kelvin Banks is the best offensive tackle in this class with Will Campbell right behind him. The NFL draft is like 95 days away. If you're ready for it and you want more draft content and more draft videos, hit that thumbs up icon and make sure you are following me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up and let's go Big Blue.